ऑलराइट, सो अगर तुम इस चैनल को काफी टाइम से देखते आ रहे हो, मेरे साथ डिस्कॉर्ड के थ्रू काफी टच में रहते हो, या फिर वन ऑफ द ओजीज हो जो इस चैनल को रिबूट होने से पहले तक देखता आ रहा है, तो तुम्हारे दिमाग में मेरे बारे में एक फैक्ट छपा होगा, एंड दैट इज कि मेटल गियर इज द फेवरेट फ्रेंचाइज ऑफ माइन। I love this franchise to death and regard every single part of the main series to be some of the finest games ever made. ये सारी ऐसी गेम है that you must play once in your life if you truly consider yourself a gamer. These are the games that you can look forward to, whether it be their solid and ahead of their time gameplay or an engaging story. In fact, this series is so close to my heart कि मेरी ऑडियंस में से ढेर सारे इंडिविजुअल्स ने मुझे रिक्वेस्ट करी है टू रिव्यू these games, but every single time I denied. ये कह के कि I will only review them when my content reaches its pinnacle, because I personally want these games to get the treatment they deserve. If these games are so fantastic, then they deserve a review just as good, and I want these reviews to be something that reflects my growth, my evolution as a creator. Heck, तुम जाकर मेरी MGS5 की पार्ट 1 रिव्यू एंड उससे पिछली कुछ वीडियोस को आपस में कंपेयर कर सकते हो, clearly noticing कि how that video was a step up in quality for my channel as a whole. I mean, yeah, you can call me crazy, but that is just how I feel and how emotionally I am connected to this series. However, while I do think these games are something no one should ever skip, but there arrives a huge problem, and that is none other than its parent company, Konami. Except for MGS5, none of these games are available on any modern platform like PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series S and X, PC, and जो games older PC ports की form में available भी हैं, they are broken. And ये scene सिर्फ Metal Gear के लिए नहीं, Konami की ऑलमोस्ट सारी IPs के लिए एप्लीकेबल है। एक ऐसी कंपनी which once was a proud owner of some of the finest video games ever made is now being reduced to another dumb corporation who loves to piss off their fan base. I mean, पिछले एक डेकेड की हिस्ट्री निकाल के देख लो and you have every favorite IP of theirs being murdered and slaughtered by their own hands. I mean, let's continue with the example of Metal Gear itself. जैसा कि मैंने बोला था कि majority of these games किसी भी modern platform पे available नहीं है, कई सारे newcomers इस सीरीज को miss out कर देंगे. In fact, the only best way to play every Metal Gear is to get a PS3, and that too is fucking 2 generations old at this point. जिसकी वजह से the only good option truly available is a non-official one, and that is none other than emulation. But it isn't perfect either. PS2 emulation suffers from slowdowns, तो वहीं पर PS3 one is very resource heavy. तुम्हें बस एक चीज करनी थी, and that is to release every single Metal Gear in a solid collection, or if you want to, you can even include some spin-offs. But rather than doing all of it, they did a fucking pachinko, and especially this piece of garbage. Not only it was unnecessary and not a Metal Gear, but also was a soulless cash grab asking you to pay for the goddamn save slots.
You're buying a fucking save slot, Joe? Is that what I'm seeing here? Are you buying a fucking save slot?
Tight slap for every Metal Gear fan. I mean, कोजिमा को तुमने फायर कर दिया and सागा की स्टोरी भी almost wrap up हो चुकी थी. But rather than letting the franchise rest in peace, these corporate assholes decided to disrespect it in the worst way possible and completely disregard the loyal fan base. And अगर तुम्हें ये हाश लग रहा है, तो चिंता मत करो, क्योंकि this is nothing compared to what Silent Hill fans went through. So Konami के अंडर कभी एक छोटी सी डेव टीम काम करा करती थी. इस टीम के अंडर ऐसे एम्प्लॉयज थे जिनकी कंपनी में कुछ खास रिस्पेक्ट नहीं थी एंड वर जनरली रिगार्डेड एज अंडर परफॉर्मिंग। इसी टीम को एक बार ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करने के लिए बोला गया जो कि कैपिटलाइज कर सके जापानीज हॉरर जायंट रेसिडेंट इविल की सक्सेस पर, बट क्योंकि ये टीम पैशनेट थी, they ended up creating something that was far cry from what Resident Evil is known for. The result was worth of psychological horror in video games and something that earned the title of King of Horror Games alongside the very own series that inspired its creation. Silent Hill was the next big step in horror games and something that completely flipped Team Silent's reputation from being not so trustworthy studio to Konami's second most valuable dev team right after Kojima Productions, जिसकी वजह से budget, staff and ambition बढ़ता है, resulting in even better sequels and some of the finest games ever made. But then arrived Silent Hill 4, which had a pretty mixed reception, not because how bad it was, but because not being as good and refined as OG trilogy. Due to this, out of nowhere, Konami decides to disregard team's previous work, completely fuck shit up, and dissolve the studio. From there on, Konami had tried their level best to keep the IPs in the hands of Western developer, and every time we got a bad to mediocre title, majority of them being completely unaware of what Silent Hill is all about. I mean, आखिरी बार जब एक full-fledged Silent Hill game release करी गई थी, that was a dungeon crawler of all things. However, we also got a little hope in form of PT, but again it was cut short due to Kojima being fired. Even अभी कुछ टाइम पहले डोमेन नेम की भी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई थी, which really goes to show how out of touch Konami is. चलो मैं एक टाइम पे मेटल गियर एंड साइलेंट हिल का समझ सकता हूँ कि इन्हें बनाने में काफी रिसोर्सेज खर्च होंगे, but where is a new 2D Castlevania? Although they have not been as harsh as they were on other IPs, because Castlevania के ढेर सारे corrections time to time release होते रहते हैं. But still, it's been 14 fucking years since the last Metroidvania based game and a decade since the latest entry. At least give us something new, because Castlevania is not a story heavy series. All you have to do is कि एक नए Belmont को introduce करो, Dracula को resurrect करो, and bam, a new game. Yet what you did?
You gotta be fucking kidding.
That's right, NFTs, and that too on series' 35th anniversary. इसमें भी अगर थोड़ी बहुत creativity and resources खर्च हो रहे हैं, चलो Metroidvania को साइड करो. At least give us an old school Castlevania. उसमें तो कम से कम ज्यादा दिमाग खर्च नहीं करना पड़ेगा. And old school से याद आया, what about Contra? What about that 80s muscle powers fighting hordes of aliens, robots and giant bosses at the end of every stage? What about that challenging yet fun experience that will get your testosterone pumping? Now Contra was going still strong enough even after the Genesis and SNES days with solid titles like Contra 4, Shattered Soldier, and in spite of heavy tonal and art style shift with newer titles like Hardcore Uprising, it was well and alive. That is, until this disaster happened. From there on, just like others mentioned in this video, it went on a dormant sleep, never to be heard again from. What really boggles me the most is these are not just yet another good IP, these are the grand IPs of their respective genres. Metal Gear revolutionized stealth, Silent Hill is king of psychological horror, Castlevania literally has an entire genre named after it, and Contra is granddaddy of run and gun games. Yet what we get? Oh look, it's MGS3 remake. God, it looks amazing in the Fox engine, I wish.
Sorry, I have to.
But hey, at least we still have a new Silent Hill, right? Shit. Seriously, a new 3D Castlevania? At least we are... Oh, fuck off! And as a final nail in the coffin, they even murdered best of all things. ये कौन है मेरे भाई? एक्चुअली यू नो व्हाट, तुम फिगर आउट करो कि ये कौन है, तब तक मैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो पे काम चालू करता हूं. गुड बाय.